Hello, my name is Amanda Moraguez and I love movies, all types of movies, from action to mystery to romance. But one movie that really sticks in my mind is Romeo and Juliet. This was one of my favorite movies because we can all relate to its message. There are many themes to this movie, but the one that I believe is the best is that love is powerful and forceful. In the movie, love plays the most important role and shows the intensity of passion that love can bring. The power of love is demonstrated in many ways throughout the movie. For example, Romeo would take huge risks by visiting Juliet at night, knowing that if he was caught, he could be killed. He believed that being able to see his loved Juliet was worth any risk. Here's some background information that will increase your appreciation of the movie. The setting of the story is in Verona, Italy, and it is about a love tragedy. Two people fall in love with each other, but their families hate one another and will not let them be together. Romeo and Juliet are known to be star-crossed lovers and do anything they can to see each other. The problem is that Juliet is a Capulet and Romeo is a Montague, and the families do not get along, to say at the very least. The movie was based off the play written by William Shakespeare. However, he was not the one who came up with the story. A poet named Arthur Brooks had developed a poem from other stories that were similar. Shakespeare usually wrote books based on earlier works. This movie was made by Franco Seffrellis. He got the storyline from the play that was made by Shakespeare. The main characters of this movie are Romeo, Juliet, Friar Lawrence, and Mercutio. Romeo is the lover. His character is very affectionate and shows powerful love. In the movie, Romeo was played by the British actor Leonard Whiting at age 17. He was born on June 30th, 1950 in London. Juliet is the young girl who falls in love with Romeo, and Olivia Hussey played her role at age 16. She was born in Argentina on April 17th, 1951, but her parents were British. Friar Lawrence is the cleric who supports Romeo and Juliet's love for each other. And lastly, Mercutio is the witty and clever friend of Romeo. He is the one who fought for Romeo against Tybalt. He was known as the jokester of the movie. This movie was reviewed positively by many movie critics. One movie critic named Renata Adler views Franco Seffrelli's movie of Romeo and Juliet as a lovely, sensitive popularization version of the play. She believes that this movie worked touchingly and with full awareness. Her overall view of the movie version of the play was that it was a success. I also agree with her views and will now tell you a little about the storyline. First, Romeo is in love with another woman named Rosaline, yet she does not feel the same way about him. Meanwhile, Juliet was scheduled to marry Paris, a kinsman of the prince. However, her father delayed it for 2 years because she was not even 14 yet. As a way to set Juliet and Paris up, her father throws a masquerade dance, inviting a bunch of people in hopes that Paris will win Juliet's heart. Romeo decides to go to the masquerade knowing that Rosaline will be there. As soon as Romeo walks into the Capulet's home, he spots Juliet and falls in love immediately, forgetting all about Rosaline. Throughout the whole dance, Romeo is searching for Juliet and admiring her beauty, and towards the end of the night, they finally speak to each other and share a kiss. After the kiss, Romeo finds out that Juliet is a Capulet, and Juliet finds out that Romeo is a Montague, both equally becoming upset. After the dance, Romeo goes to his hiding place and then hears Juliet fondly speaking about him from her balcony above the orchid where he was hiding behind. They exchange their vows of love to each other. From this, Romeo decides he wants to marry Juliet secretly and asks his friend Friar Lawrence for help, in which he agrees to marry them. Romeo and Juliet marry each other the next day in a private cell. After the two lovers were married, Tybalt, without knowing about the nuptials, wants to fight Romeo because he was enraged about him showing up to his cousin Juliet's masquerade dance. Romeo does not want to fight him because now that he's married to Juliet, they are family. So Romeo's friend, Mercutio, decides to fight Tybalt for him, and Tybalt kills Mercutio. Now Romeo is angry at Tybalt and kills him as revenge for killing his friend. When the prince arrives at the scene, he declares Romeo banished from Verona. However, Friar Lawrence sets up a place for Romeo to meet Juliet for their wedding night before he has to leave for Mantua. Juliet does not want to marry Paris, but is supposed to in 3 days, so her and Friar Lawrence come with a plan to reunite the two lovers. Juliet is supposed to drink a potion that will make her appear dead, and once she is in the family's crypt, Friar Lawrence will retrieve her and she will be able to live freely with Romeo and Mantua. Unfortunately, when Romeo hears about Juliet's death, he makes his own poison and proceeds to where Juliet's body is. There he finds Paris, who is laying flowers down by her bed, and kills him. Afterwards, he drinks his poison and dies next to Juliet. When Lawrence came in, he realized that Romeo had killed himself. Then, when Juliet awakened and realized that Romeo was dead, she kissed his lips once more and then stabbed herself with a dagger. When the two families see their children's bodies, they both agree to end their feud and make gold statues of them. As you can see, the theme of this movie also leaves a great impact, showing that love is a powerful force that brings two enemy families together in the end. The tragedy of this story was that Romeo and Juliet died without the satisfaction of being together. But their deaths also led to the end of a family feud between their families, and peace now filled the streets of Verona. Without a doubt, this movie is a great example of the meaning of true love. Romeo and Juliet could not live without each other, and in the end found a place where they could. I hope you enjoyed learning a little about this movie.